Hello again, this is Ben Hitchcock cross-talking to you today, and we're going to do round two on Brenda Cassellius, the new superintendent of Milwaukee Public Schools. All right. Um, First article we're going to do, Alec Johnson from the Journal Sentinel here. What to know about newly appointed MPS Superintendent Brenda Cassellius. And I've been keeping because of the ads, but I did want to point out here, let's just see, Alec Johnson. All right. Reported with Now News Group. Oh my goodness. Since 2016. Oh my God. Our local paper is owned by USA Today. Well, that's why we have deliberate indifference. Wisconsin. All right. That's why I hate pop up. So it was Daryl Jackson who cast the lone nay vote against Cassellius here. Um, Before I get on to, I guess my next point is reading further into that article, we see it says pending a background check by a third party, meaning the corporation that we're talking about. So that confirms that that's still happening. Sorry, from our previous article, we learned, our previous investigation, I think we learned that some of the services offered by the headhunting corporation was contract or background check, and then also alignment and further on making sure that they follow the policies. So I'm positing here that because this news article is saying they're doing the background check, we can assume they check the box and they're doing the continued insurance to make sure that this person gets with the program is going to work out. I finally want to say I kind of think this picture here has got to be a hit piece picture because that's to me that's something. All right, back to yours truly. Pending a third party, a background check, and contract negotiation. The board hopes to approve a contract in July 26th. The board selected Cassellius over two other finalists for the position, Starr, a former superintendent of Montgomery Public Schools in Maryland, and Andre, with an accent, Townsell, current superintendent of Culver County Public Schools in Maryland. Here's what to know about Cassellius. Along with the role at Boston Public Schools, Cassellius served as Minnesota's Commissioner of Education for 8 years, superintendent in the East Metro Integration District in Minnesota. Oh my goodness. East Metro Integration District. I'm sure it's not as exciting as that sounds. Associate Superintendent for Middle and High Schools. Wow, that's a weird way to do it, but kind of cool. I shouldn't say weird, a different way. We have regional superintendents, superintendent, deputy superintendent, chief of academic officer, then regionals, as they're called, who are above the principals. Here they have a superintendent who is above the middle school and high school principals. Let's just go back here and see, huh? Is Minneapolis not on here? Wow. Well, that might do it. All right. An academic superintendent for middle schools in Memphis City Schools. Her LinkedIn profile shows Cassellius also has experience as an assistant principal, teacher, and special education paraprofessional, which that's pretty common. Before MPS announced her selection, Cassellius was a finalist for the St. Paul Public Schools superintendent position in St. Paul, Minnesota. Other roles, well, so she was going at the same time for St. Paul, which more power to her. Huh. Interesting. I mean, maybe we're runner up for St. Paul. That's kind of shocking. So that means she didn't win. Okay. Other roles Cassellius had before MPS were executive director at St. Paul, Minnesota Fresh Energy, as the founder of her. Okay. Yeah, well, that's the nonprofit circle there. Fresh Energy, whatever, but that's Leader Proof, own educational consulting business, Leader Proof LLC. That's they all have that. and is a board member of Alight, an organization that helps address the needs of refugees. I mean, given the revelations, that could be anything. Cassellius earned a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Minnesota, a master's degree in the secondary education and teaching, and specialist degree in educational leadership and administration from University of St. Thomas in Minnesota. And she also holds a doctorate in education from the University of Memphis. Oh, well, huh. She might have got that while she was at the superintendent there. In a phone interview Monday, Castelia said solving the problem will require serious financial commitment, whether through rehabilitation, remedies, closing of or building of new schools, or even with repainting. Jail is too good for them. Okay. How will Cassellius tackle the district's financial reporting issues? Cassellius said it's important to know where every dollar is going. She noted that she focused on compliance, accountability, auditing, and risk management when she was the state commissioner of education in Minnesota. She also said there has to be accountability with the public as well as those within the district. Cassellius said she would commit to quarterly reporting on the district's finances and as part of the district's budgeting process with public hearings. Cassellius, what did Cassellius say about improving the district's academic performance? Cassellius suggested using backwards mapping about what's expected on the National Assessment of Educational Progress and Wisconsin Forward exams, allowing for the district standards to be aligned. That is definitely worth a Google rabbit hole. Yeah, so it's teaching to the test. Here we go. Top hat backwards mapping. Backwards mapping is a learning process where instructors form assignments and lessons based on course objectives. Instead of beginning the course with a unit that is chronologically delivered, instructors begin the course with the end goal in mind to ensure students are meeting educational outcomes that are started at the set of the semester. Backwards mapping is where instructors set goals for the term and then create assignments and lessons that align with those goals. Oh, well, let's figure out what those goals are. Let's look back here and say Cassellius suggested using backwards mapping about what's expected on the National Assessment of Education Progress and Wisconsin Forward exams. Teaching to the test. Which, look, hopefully there's some educators watching this, hoping someone will tell me, am I right, am I wrong? But also, has, in the course of human events, has teaching to the test ever worked? I submit it has not. Backwards mapping ensures teachers understand the standards that they can access and that high quality materials and professional development. If that how is that not happening now? The district and schools then monitor progress and try to continuously improve, she said. Oh my God. That's that's less than ideal. What I mean by that, to be precise, is that I've heard this exact statement with different language every 5 years uh, since I can recall. What are Caselli's views about returning SROs to MPS schools? A judge on January 23rd. Okay, we know that. She said the roles of administrative teams, school safety officers, and school resource officers must be defined. That means establishing who does what and when for interventions of health and safety, discipline, or law and safety situations. I just, why don't, I mean, first of all, the role is defined. And B, why not just come out and say, we don't want kids getting arrested? Totally agree with that. Totally agree that we don't want kids getting arrested. Okay. Now, the question is, are they going to continue to defy the law? Are they going to define away the law, define, or are they going to, they have something other plan in mind? Because I just don't believe, and I don't think the judge believes, that there's any question of who does what and when for interventions in health and safety, discipline, or law and safety situations. I guess, and there go on, but I guess my real feeling on this is who's in charge, the principal or the captain. I think that's really what this is all about. Meaning the principal, meaning the superintendent, and really meaning the, when I say Department of Education, but I mean the Department of Education's statistics and their reporting of those. I think that's really what's at stake. One more, say that a different way. Translation from Ben speak. They are, if the principal's in control, the school district can control the numbers. If the police are controlled, the school district can't control the numbers of what's reported to both the public and the Department of Public Instruction for example, how many assaults are happening at school at any given time. Sorry, we almost missed an important sentence. Training in de-escalation, restorative justice practices, youth health development, and communications with youth is also needed, Caselli has said. All right, that wraps it up for that article there. Look, I've said this time and time again, I'm all for safe schools, and I'm all for following the law. And I'm really concerned that this training in de-escalation, restorative justice practices, youth health development, and communication with youth is also needed. And I guess, again, I don't think that the police, not, I agree with Judge Borowski when I'm saying that the police don't need any special training in order to deal with kids. I totally agree that we don't necessarily want children to start their lives with criminal things that happen before their brains are developed. Absolutely agree with that. And I also agree that we don't want people to have a unsafe space. And I guess just my broader point is that these definition these this resort to it just doesn't. It's just more communication that they're not serious about following the law, and I think that's why I find that to be the most troubling. Now, let's look at. Wow, we went down 3 rabbit holes. Now, here's an article from Wisconsin Public Radio. Corinne Hess. She does a lot of education work. Not a big byline for Corinne there. The Milwaukee Public School Board of Directors has chosen Brendan Caselli as the new superintendent at a time when the district is facing challenges on several fronts: finances, facilities, and student performance. Anybody can think of an F word for student performance? Not me. Good. Sorry. Caselli's faced those same issues at a previous school district. The reviews of her leadership at the Boston Public Schools are mixed. Oh, this is very interesting. Caselli has served as superintendent of Boston Public Schools from July of 2019 to July of 2020. Now, what's something I always tell clients? People who have jobs get jobs. And it's very concerning to me that this person had a 2-year gap in their resume of not being a superintendent. That's concerning to me. I have to say, the more I've seen it, the more it seems like I think Starr seemed to be the most qualified, more qualified than her. And I see several statements from Gokul Gandhi, particularly about how it was a no-brainer And I'd like to know more about why they think that is, because it just doesn't seem to me to be the case. Shortly after she took over leadership at the Boston district, she was faced with similar reports similar to the one Milwaukee received this week. A Boston school system was failing. Here we go. Quote, the Boston School District does not have a clear, coherent district-wide strategy for supporting low-performance schools and has a limited capacity to support all schools designated by the state as requiring assistance or intervention, according to a March 2020 report by the state of Massachusetts. Okay, and so she was in there from 19 to 20. So she's barely getting there, but she's got 2 more years to sort of do that. I think this statement here by this reporter that Milwaukee Public Schools is facing similar challenges, an audit of the district's operation found to be the most vulnerable, students are not being well served, is spot on. And in fact, I can think of 3 or 4 things with it, particularly this does not have a clear, coherent district-wide strategy. That's where have I heard that before? Lamem shows. You see what I'm saying? All right. In Boston, Caselius, a former longtime Minnesota education commissioner, said overhauling the district's lowest performing schools was her top priority. Who 2 years later, man, she's got a good zingers. Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education checked in again. Do they have a separate department for higher institutions? Wow. It's so cool how every state is slightly different in their own way. I do think that Lamem Shell's there too. All right, the second report praised Caselius's leadership on several new district-wide initiatives, but said the district had failed to effectively serve its most vulnerable students, carry out basic operational functions, and address systemic barriers to provide an equitable, quality education. Okay, um, that's That's pretty, I guess, damning. I mean, what the heck? During Caselius's tenure, a study from the Right-Wing Pioneer Institute in Boston, called for the district to be put in a state receivership due to years of rapid decline marked by low overall performance, yawning achievement gaps, instability, bureaucratic inertia, and central office ineffectiveness. Now, a superintendent can't change everything overnight, but still, that's not what you want. In an interview with WPR, Caselli said that MPS had an operational and academic priorities, and the district has to establish trust and confidence in the community. Caselli has said her tenure with Boston Public Schools was marred by the pandemic and racial unrest following George Floyd's murder. Despite that, she pointed to several accomplishments during her tenure, including the creation of Mass Corps, a set of college career ready graduation standards, and achieving the highest graduation on record from Boston Public Schools. That sounds pretty good. All right, now we are going to go to a four. Now, this is a warning. I have a warning here that says this article is more than 3 years old. 4 things to know about this is WBUR, public radio in there in Boston. 4 things to know about the departure of Boston School Chief Brenda Caselius. All right. Boston's super school intendants, Brenda Castillo, appeared to catch many by surprise when she announced she would step down from her position at the end of the school year. Her resignation letter proved a little in the way of insight into why she was leaving her post after 3 years on the job. Caselius used most of the 2-page document to highlight her accomplishments and thank people she worked with during her tenure. Here are 4 things to know about Caselli's decision and what it means for Boston schools moving forward. In a statement, Mayor Michelle Wood said it was that the move was mutual decision between herself, Caselius, and the Boston School Committee Chair, Jerry Robinson. I think the mayor has more control there than they might hear. On Tuesday morning, Caselius told reporters that no one is pushing her out the door. Oof. That's what you don't want to hear. Nobody could have anticipated a pandemic and 3 mayoral changes and just an incredible amount of headwinds, she said. Whoa. Wu was asked directly whether she requested that the superintendent step down, she said pointedly, no. Mayor Wu has just 5 months to choose a new superintendent. Oh, yeah, this is summer. Okay. 3. Cassellius' tenure had its shares of ups and downs. Cassellius played a big role in the district's exam school admissions policy overhaul, which many have lauded as a significant step towards improving equity in the district. You notice they don't say mass court. Oh, well, the school's committee cast the deciding vote. It was the superintendent's job to develop the proposal. Cassellius developed a task force, and the group spent 6 months working on the issue. Members were planning to send the superintendent a proposal that allowed socioeconomic factors to be considered, in addition to the academics, in 100% of administration decisions. For reasons that are still unclear, the group changed its mind at the last minute and altered the proposal. Cassellius, however, fought to keep the provision and ultimately prevailed. Huh. That's interesting. That's yeah, we want it this way and that's it. Way, got it. Caselli has also been praised for raising graduation requirements to match the university admission requirements, among other things. But the superintendent has faced significant criticism for her 3-year tenure. Oof. In 2020, Boston Teachers Union passed a vote of no confidence in Caselli's while negotiating conditions to reopen school buildings after the pandemic shutting them down, sending classes remote. In 2019, a Boston Globe investigation revealed that many of the district's bathrooms were often left dirty and unsanitary conditions. And Cassellius missed an important deadline in August to renew her certification to operate a school system. She did learn later that certification. Well, we've heard all of those things here in Milwaukee. Wow. So that is the arc of this story here is we've heard this all before several times, and it's kind of concerning that she didn't get the job in St. Paul. But we'll have a chance to learn more, I'm sure. So, as they say, as we say, as I say, thanks for sticking with us. We'll keep you informed.